Mr. Fantastic versus Plastic Man. Who's the ultimate shapeshifter? Two of the most insane shapeshifters in all of comics. One, a man whose mind and body can stretch to infinity. The other, a walking cartoon who breaks logic for breakfast. But when it comes down to pure versatility, raw durability, and creativity in battle, who actually comes out on top? Reed Richards, better known as Mr. Fantastic, isn't just smart, he's the smartest man in the Marvel Universe. The leader of the Fantastic Four, head of the Future Foundation, and a scientist who's explored the multiverse, created time machines, and casually debates cosmic beings like equals. But before the brains came, the bends. It all started when Reed designed a spacecraft to test faster than light travel. During the mission, he and his crew, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm, were bombarded by cosmic radiation. Instead of dying, Reed's DNA was rewritten, turning his body into a hyper-elastic mass that could stretch, twist, and reform into virtually any shape imaginable. Reed's powers aren't just for show. He can extend his limbs across city blocks, flatten himself to paper-thin layers, or bulk up to monstrous proportions. He's wrapped around skyscrapers, shielded teammates from explosions, and transformed his hands into hammers, blades, or even parachutes mid-battle. He's strong enough to trade blows with the likes of Namor, Spider-Man, The Thing, and Hercules, and on several occasions he's even restrained Thor, Iron Man, and the Hulk all at once. And durability? Reed's practically unbreakable. His body absorbs blunt trauma that redirects kinetic energy and resists piercing damage completely. Bullets bounce off. Wolverine's claws can't cut him. He's taken hits from beings that could destroy worlds, tanked energy blasts from Galactus, and even survived blows from a cosmic amped Superman in crossover events. In pure resilience, Reed Richards is a nightmare to deal with. But that's just the surface. What really makes him dangerous is control. Reed has total molecular awareness. He consciously manipulates every atom of his body. He can become denser to increase striking power, hollow himself out to let attacks phase through him, or flatten to slip under doors and into machinery. He's even learned to stretch into the fourth dimension, trapping opponents in spaces their brains can't process. Yeah, that's right, he's turned stretching into a reality-bending science. But here's where it gets interesting. Because if Reed is a scientist who stretches logic, Plastic Man is the logic breaking itself. Eel O'Brien was a small-time criminal until fate literally melted him into something new. During a botched heist, he was shot, doused in experimental chemicals, and left to die. But instead of killing him, those chemicals rewrote his body at the molecular level, turning him into a liquid-solid hybrid capable of infinite transformation. He could stretch, reshape, and survive anything, and Eel O'Brien died that day. From the chemical remains rose Plastic Man. Plastic Man doesn't just bend or stretch, he flows. His body isn't bound by mass, density, or even physics. He can morph into anything: a car, a rocket, a ball, a dragon, even other superheroes. He once disguised himself as Wonder Woman's invisible jet just for fun. He's turned his fingers into machine guns, split himself into multiple moving parts, and reshaped into objects as small as a paperclip or as massive as a skyscraper. His only limit is imagination. And when it comes to strength and durability, Plastic Man's feats are straight up broken. He's overpowered Shazam, restrained a version of Darkseid, and survived being shattered, liquefied, and scattered across the ocean floor for 1,000 years. When he was eventually reassembled, he reformed instantly, completely fine. No damage, no scars, no memory loss. Just back. In one story, he even laughs off being melted into goo by heat vision that could vaporize mountains. At this point, durable doesn't even describe him. He's basically immortal. He doesn't age. He doesn't need to breathe. And he's said outright that he's immune to physical harm. Gravity, energy, matter, they just don't affect him in the same way they affect anyone else. His body exists in a state that's more idea than flesh. Even the Justice League treats him like a nuclear deterrent. Batman himself admitted Plastic Man might be the only person who could actually kill Martian Manhunter. So when you put these two Elastic Legends side by side, it's not just a stretch off. It's a battle between order and chaos, reason and imagination. Let's break it down. Reed Richards is precision and intelligence incarnate. He fights methodically, using his elasticity to trap, restrain, and control the battlefield. His scientific mind makes him adaptable, always thinking several steps ahead. With prep time, he's built weapons capable of killing celestials and designed tech that outsmarts gods. Give him a lab and a day, and he might invent a Plastic Man countermeasure. But here's the problem. Plastic Man doesn't follow rules that Reed can calculate. Mr. Fantastic's elasticity is bound by mass conservation. He can stretch, expand, and reform, but his molecular density still matters. Plastic Man's doesn't. He's a shape-shifting singularity. He doesn't conserve mass or obey physical limits. You can trap Reed, crush him, or stretch him to his limit, but Plastic Man can literally pour himself through a keyhole or turn into light-hearted nonsense that physics can't predict. Reed's greatest weakness is that he's still a man. His brain can be overwhelmed. His molecules, though controlled, can still be disrupted by extreme temperatures or energy manipulation. Plastic Man has no such weaknesses. Fire, freezing, explosions, none of it stops him. He's fought gods, cartoon logic, and time itself. He once turned into glass, shattered into fragments, and still reformed laughing. And sure, Reed could argue his intellect gives him the edge. But even Batman, with all his prep time memes and backup plans, admitted he has no idea how to permanently stop Plastic Man. If the world's greatest detective can't figure it out, Reed might be in for a very long, very humiliating fight. Because at the end of the day, even if Mr. Fantastic found a way to contain Plastic Man, it wouldn't last. Plastic Man's body would seep through, reform, and keep fighting. He's like a living paradox, unstoppable because he doesn't recognize the concept of can't. And the longer the fight goes, the worse it gets for Reed. Plastic Man's unpredictability is his weapon. He fights like a Looney Tune on steroids. One moment he's a slingshot, the next a tidal wave of fists, then a giant rubber shark with boxing gloves. How do you plan for that? You can't outsmart chaos when it's sentient and immortal. In fact, even when you look at their mental resilience, Plastic Man still edges out. Reed's mind is his greatest gift, but also his greatest burden. He overanalyzes, overthinks, and strategizes until he's paralyzed by possibility. Plastic Man, meanwhile, embraces chaos. He acts without hesitation, weaponizing spontaneity itself. His comedic insanity isn't a weakness. It's a shield that makes him unpredictable, even to telepaths. When Martian Manhunter tried to read his mind, he saw nothing but absurdity, a storm of nonsense too abstract to process. In a battle of logic versus madness, Plastic Man's mind is as untouchable as his body. In a way, Mr. Fantastic represents human potential, logic, innovation, and control. Plastic Man represents imagination, boundless, wild, and impossible to contain. And when logic meets imagination in a fight, logic breaks first. Reed Richards is a master of science. Plastic Man is the death of science. Verdict: Plastic Man wins. He's faster, stronger, infinitely more adaptable, and literally indestructible. Even with Reed's mind and strategy, he just doesn't have a reliable way to put Plastic Man down for good. Plastic Man's the ultimate shapeshifter because he's not just elastic, he's eternal.